nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. No Austin this week, but we're going to do a little preview of the Euro 2024 coming up and kind of see what else is going on in the soccer and sporting landscape. Joining me today, Charles Peacock of the False Line, Texas. Charles, no Austin this week. What have you been doing?
I've been trying to avoid the sun as much as possible, but failing because I went tubing and then went to a pool party after tubing, which was not the smartest plan I've ever had.
No, I hope you invested in a lot of sunscreen.
Yes, quite a bit.
Okay, good. Well, we're being safe. It's important to take precautions. Brad Tillery. Brad, how you doing?
I'm okay. Good.
What are you doing on your Austin-less weekend?
So yesterday I was my other obsession, which is horse racing, which was Belmont Stakes Day. So watched a lot of racing yesterday and smoked up some barbecue. And today I am going to do the exact opposite of avoiding the sun and go play golf because I've got a new 52-degree wedge that needs to be tested out.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Okay. Have you taken a couple whacks and you can backspin it for sure?
I can never backspin in the first place. I just really need like a wedge that would get me in that 80 to 100 yard range without having to choke down or anything like that. Plus something a little better around the greens that will land soft. So, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. And Seth, who knows everything. Seth, you've had a bit of a week. You want to tell us how that's been going?
Yeah, I decided to take a few days off and go do a bunch of random sporting events. So I went down to North Carolina on Tuesday night. For Wednesday, I went to the soccer tournament, which is a 7-on-7 tournament where I got to see a bunch of different matches and go from seeing everything from college kids to Kun Aguero and Nani. Was there partly to support friend of the pod, Mike Lahoud, who got signed by Borussia Dortmund of all teams. So I got to see them play 2 games, and they ended up not making it out of the group stage of TSC, but they beat Bayern Munich. So in the traditional Dortmund sense, if you beat Bayern, it's actually probably more important than advancing. So it is that's how it's all going there. But it was a really interesting event. Watching 7-on-7 soccer with grown adults is interesting. And I don't know, have any of you guys seen how the target score time works there?
No.
I read it like once and then they just kept playing and I didn't bother to try to understand it.
Is it like how basketball does like the target score when they?
So
when
it's similar to that. So the logic is that every game has to end on a goal. And so that when every game, so that let's say it's the so they play 2 20-minute halves. So let's say for theory it's 3-1 at the end of the 40 minutes. Then they take a 3-minute break, and then whoever is first to 4 wins. But what happens is after 3 minutes, a player has to come off. So it goes from 7-on-7 to 6-on-6, 5-on-5. So I saw the team that we're going to call I think it was Sneaky Fox was their actual name, but I'm calling them the Des Moines Menace because it was Sasha Kleshtin, it was Tasha Akindele, it was a bunch of those guys who played in the U.S. Open Cup with Des Moines. They came back. They were down 2-0 at target score time and came back and won 3-2, and it was 3-3 on the field. And last night, apparently, there was a game that got to 2v2.
Amazing.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. When I was reading through it, I thought they were just like, well, if we take a player off, goals count double. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. But if it's just like they get a chance to come back and like score a few more goals for a comeback win, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that when you read the rules for the first time, it doesn't really make sense. But when you're there, it's like, oh yeah, this is logical. But some of the fields didn't have scoreboards, so you're like, is it really 3 minutes? Is it really not? Because the main field was the North Carolina FC, North Carolina Courage Stadium, but it was split into 2 fields. But since there was only one set of scoreboard, like there was only one video board there, they only played on one of those 2 fields at once. So like there was another legit field, and the other ones were like rec fields.
Yeah, this is the big complex in Cary, just south of Raleigh, right? Is this also the site of the infamous Landon Donovan water fountain photo?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
I didn't know if they had a plaque or like signs pointing it out to you or what.
I am embarrassed to admit that I did not know that until right now. and I would have made some very different choices and taken some different pictures.
I would try every water fountain, okay?
I will say they did have a bunch of water hydration stations there, and both events I went to. So I was at TST on Wednesday. I was doing non-sport stuff on Thursday. But then yesterday and on Friday, I went to the cricket in Long Island. And let me tell you, that place they had a really good water refilling stations there. But yes, it was not Texas sun, but being out in the sun for 4 hours with no breeze and no shade. Watching Canada Ireland, which is like, let's face it, just about the whitest crowd you could get, even for cricket. At least they had a free sunscreen next to the water fountains.
I completely buy that. One of the hottest days I've ever experienced in my life was in New York City at a Yankees game. So, absolutely agree. That place can get ridiculous on certain days if you don't have shade.
Yeah, and this stadium, I don't know if you guys are going to watch India-Pakistan is about to start while we're recording, they threw up a 34,000-seat stadium in like 4 months, and then they're going to take it down in a week once it's done.
That seems. Are they going to like rebuild it somewhere else, reuse the materials, or what?
So all the bleachers are going out to Vegas for the Formula One race.
Okay, well, that's good at least. Yeah, I mean, there was a U.S. men's national team game yesterday. We're going to skip over that for two reasons. One, I don't want to talk about it. And two, we're going to do a Copa America preview and kind of roll that in as well. Tell us more about cricket. Did the U.S. replace a certain other game as its new national pastime?
Absolutely. So I was in New York City on Thursday, mostly doing non-sporting stuff, but I did stop by the Cricket World Cup fan zone in right on the World Trade Center Plaza and got to watch a bunch of the U.S. chase against Pakistan, which was a very funny crowd of like 20 Americans supporting the U.S., probably 100 Americans supporting Pakistan, 100 Pakistanis supporting Pakistan, and a couple hundred other very confused people. And it was so what's been going on is we're hosting the T20 World Cups right now, and in the United States and in the West Indies. And how it works is it's a little different of a format than a soccer World Cup or the Euros that we're going to talk about. There are 4 groups of 5 teams. So there are 20 teams, and you play everyone in the group, and the top 2 advance out to a Super 8 round where you have 2 more groups of 4 teams where you play each other, and the top 2 teams from the Super 8 move on to the semifinals and then to the finals.
Oh, a double group stage. FIFA would fucking love that.
Yes. But what FIFA would really love is that in cricket, there's no draw show. Everything is entirely rigged and pre-planned because India and Pakistan refuse to schedule matches against each other. So every single cricket international tournament requires India and Pakistan to be in the same group so that they will play each other in the ICC, which is the FIFA equivalent. Imagine more inept and possibly more corrupt. It arranges India and Pakistan to play each other every time. The cheapest ticket today in New York City for this match is over $900.
Good God.
It was $300 to get into the Game 1 of the Stanley Cup last night down in South Florida, and it is over $900. I mean, there were maybe 5,000 people at Canada Ireland, and I paid $60 for that, and I think we paid $75 yesterday for Netherlands South Africa, which I only got to stay for half of because I did do another soccer thing yesterday and made it back here to Chicago in time to see the Red Stars play at Wrigley Field.
Yeah. For those of you who don't speak like even semi-fluent cricket, T20 is like a reduced time version of the game, so it doesn't take 9 years. It's like if Rob Manfred decided to invent cricket
pretty much
and make it worse.
But a lot of people in cricket really like T20. Like there are people who are like the purists that it needs to be a 5-day test and things like that. But
it doesn't.
But T20 has become very popular, and like what FIFA would want to do. There's now a T20 World Cup about every 2 years, and they have them in different countries all the time. So there's no consistent season when they are. It's just like cricket, but cricket, unlike soccer, is a sport where country gets priority over club. So no one really cares about the club season as much as they care about their country's performance.
Yeah, and India and Pakistan is sort of like, Brazil, Argentina, the biggest rivalry in cricket, but also there's a whole like geopolitical aspect to it, and we're not going to get into it, but It's a big
I
deal.
will just say
Just
the
trust us.
amount of security that was around the New York complex for the cricket was absolutely wild. That
Yeah.
like you couldn't pass through. They claimed that migrants were crossing the southern border to come attack the cricket, which like I do believe that there's like ISIS and other threats at the cricket. Like this does have some pretty global ramifications, but like migrants are not crossing the southern border to go. Who even are aware of the cricket.
No. But hey, we gotta take things in the news and mix them together and, come up with a fun theory about them. Wrigley Field, I watched the first half. Kind of seemed like a cool event to be at.
Yeah, sorry for a second. Audio's going in and out, but it was a cool event to attend. It was definitely I'd never been to a live cricket match before this, so it was really cool to see, and I learned a lot of new technology. I can tell you the difference between a pace bowler, a spin bowler, and starting to learn more of the rules. I will say the thing that is most relevant about cricket to soccer fans is that cricket has the best review system in the world. I am convinced that DRS is like light years above VAR.
So, which bowler did the "Who do you think you are? I am" after like throwing it past the guy with the bat?
I don't remember which. Yeah,
They need that. They basically need their own Pete Weber.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, so there definitely are some celebrations and things like that, but you have multiple ways to get out in the game, and that's where it's like the reviews and everything else come in and be pretty interesting. But yeah, there's definitely some egos in the game, as there should be in every sport.
Yeah. It makes it more interesting. There's also a great video of a Australian cricketer like completely body checking a streaker who ran onto the field. So maybe I'll try to pop that in the show notes. Yeah. Alrighty. Gonna talk a little bit more about the Red Stars, or should we get into the Euro stuff?
I'll give the Red Stars a shout for a sec. 35,000 people at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field last night.
Boo.
The Red Stars did not. I was really disappointed there were no balls kicked into the bleachers because I really wanted to start a throw it back chant. It's very funny for me as a Reds fan, and the Reds are actually playing the Cubs in Cincinnati this week. The Reds beat the Cubs right as I walked into Wrigley Field, so it's very funny, like being on Gallagher Way outside. And it's like watching it. It's like, okay, I just watched the Reds beat the Cubs. Now I'm going to go into Wrigley Field to watch a sporting event. Quite an odd dynamic there. But they set up. It was the closest I've ever been to a professional soccer game because there was no like area really between the goal and where the fans started. Because we were down the left field line, and I was in the fifth row, and I felt like I was in the field of play. But because it's a baseball stadium, they had the nets up. And I think the first time I've ever watched a soccer game through not just through a protected netting, and I was low enough that the ball would have gone directly to me if the net had broken.
Yowza.
But yeah, we had some other Austin FC folks come down as well. Really fun atmosphere, super family friendly. The quality of soccer, not that great, but I will say Rachel, I'm going to mispronounce her name, the Zambian striker for Bay FC, is really, really impressive. And it was fun to watch her at pretty much field level.
Well, also considering that, every time they put a rectangular field in Wrigley, the quality isn't usually that good. That makes sense. You had Iowa last year getting Northwestern this year. It just makes sense.
Yeah, like you don't but I will say it was interesting that in the post-match interviews, both teams said the grass was in great shape. I mean, obviously it's a narrow pitch like NYCFC style, but it felt like it played pretty well. There were definitely a few funny bumps as you'd went over parts of the infield that had been laid over with a temporary grass, but they made it work.
Red Stars are struggling this year, right?
Red Stars they're mid-table. They are going through some of it's good, some of it's not so great. Like they're Alyssa Naher made I think 13 saves last night. Bay FC broke the NWSL record for having 16 corners in a match.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Red Stars got dominated, and they won at Bay FC earlier this year. So, like, I thought they were going to be able to win that match, but no, their midfield was non-existent.
Yeah, that checks out with the first half I watched.
But
All right.
I will say they have a coach who makes half-time strategic subs that he wasn't planning, and he subbed off 2 midfielders right at the half. I was like, wow, it is possible.
That's allowed?
No. Nope. Can't be right. All right. We'll get to the big Euro preview now. So we kind of talked about this ahead of time. Charles, Seth, and I are all very avid European soccer watchers, whether just club or at the national level. Brad doesn't really watch European soccer. So we're going to try to explain this to him, and we're going to do it in the most fun way possible by starting with kits, jerseys.
Yeah.
We'll ring out the teams. We'll do a group by group preview. But Brad, you looked up the kits, the jerseys. Who's kind of your best one of the tournament?
Ooh. So I really like Austria's, what they did.
Okay.
I think their home kit is very nice. I love their crest too. I've never actually paid attention to the Austrian crest. It's got some vibes to it, like their mean vibes. There's a lot of folks going crazy over the French kits, and I don't quite get it. The pinstripey away one is okay. The Georgia away kit is basically like a Georgia Bulldogs blackout kit, which I mean, take my despising for the Georgia Bulldogs out of play, and that's at least a college football kit. But my favorite is actually the FC Cincinnati knockoff, and it's the Netherlands away kit. Give that lion a knife and put it on the field in Cincinnati, and you try to tell me the difference.
I'm going to guess Holland has probably had that contract and that jersey concept since before FC Cincinnati was an MLS.
Or also that FC Cincinnati definitely stole that from Holland, and they tried to have their first few years as a club all be Dutch-based, and it worked out. It got them a bunch of Dutch-made wooden spoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most MLS of kits, so you go Dutch.
Yeah, I'm with you on the France ones. Like, they're good. They're not like, oh my God, like this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, people are overrating that one for me.
Yeah.
And the Scottish kit kind of disappointed me. It's the last two have been really good. Like, I thought the 22 and the 23 kits were just great. And I don't really like as much yellow as they put into the kit this year for Scotland.
Yeah, this little like weird wing yellow thing, like vents or whatever you want to call them, down at the bottom is a new trend. They're doing it a bunch of other club teams' jerseys, and everybody seems to hate them. So hopefully they're not here to stay.
Also honorable mention to the Portuguese away kits, like the bluish white.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, they're really awesome.
You know what really sucks are the German away kits. Like, those are terrible.
Those are really bad.
Yeah.
The German, like, pink and purple ones?
Yeah.
No, they're awesome. I bought one. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Here's the thing. I normally like when they kind of go like off flag for colors. I just don't like the pink and purple. It looks more like a keeper kit than an away kit. But I also think that they're kind of expecting that they're not going to wear it this tournament, and they're basically just going to be in the whites all tournament. And so it really was just kind of like have something alternative to like sell kits.
Oh yeah, I think they have like one assigned quote unquote away game in the group stage, but since they are hosting the tournament, you're right.
So why is France allowed to have a chicken on their crest, and Tottenham also has a chicken, but only France actually wins?
That's like
I'm not touching this one.
Question there.
I'm not touching this one. Well, the reason that Tottenham doesn't win is because they think the stupid game is about a cock on a basketball. I mean, the French national symbol is at least, the cock. It wasn't, just something somebody decided to stick on a jersey on top of a basketball. But I don't know.
You can tell a lot about a club based on like what stitching the soccer ball has in their logo.
Go on.
Because like that has changed like throughout the years, and so like some of the earlier clubs even look like it looks more like a volleyball, or what you think like modern wise is a volleyball versus like the pentagon hexagon patterns. And so that's always kind of like a little thing of like you kind of see like when the club was founded.
Yeah, and the Austria has kind of your classic like black and white paneled soccer ball on it. At least what I would think of as classic. So, Charles, Seth, any kits pop out, good or bad to you?
I mean, I already mentioned Germany away, bad on that side. I just feel like it's not. I mean, I'm always a sucker for the Croatia home kits just because I think that those are one of the most classic. I don't know if this is necessarily the best rendition of them, but like there are certain, especially when you have your colors are red, white, and blue. There are dozens of countries that have red, white, and blue in your flags, and the fact that I can, when I see a Croatia kit, I always know it's a Croatia kit, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
I also appreciate that, but I don't like the giant checks they went with this year.
No, I think they kind of screwed it up.
Yeah, the away kit, their away kit is better than their home kit this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's.
I kind of like some of the center logoed kits, just because I think that's kind of underused in soccer. So like Poland has those, and the aforementioned Georgia kits are like that. Besides that, like I think we got a lot of classics and a lot of kind of like classic colors and looks, which I do tend to appreciate as like a home kit because there is just something nice about like being able to turn on a match and just immediately tell who's playing. But I think I think the other ones that are bad are Belgium's away kits, the Rin Tin Tin kits, just because one, I think they're objectively ugly, and two, I just think that's such a dated reference that like I don't know why they would be so proud of that. Besides some kind of like love of colonization.
Okay, well, two things here. One, you guys are shitting on like two of the three kits that I bought. So I got my Leandro Trossard Tintin kit. Two, Tintin is a traveling little dude who, like you said, is definitely like, if you read the originals, colonizer racist. Rin Tintin is a dog.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So they're two different things.
But you know, they both have pants that just make them like they run around pooping themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rin Tin Tin didn't wear pants, but he did poop himself.
Yeah.
You got to cut the fur out. I don't know. They do have the brown shorts though, so it does look very like old school, almost like a lederhosen look.
So I'm thinking, like, the more I look at the Austria kits, by the way, they look more like German kits than the German kits look like German kits, even though Germany is hosting this thing.
Yeah, but I mean that's true to form though. Like whenever you think about like supervillain evil Germans, they're all actually Austrian.
No, that's fair.
Well, it's also like the away kits look like the inverse kits from the movie Victory, which is kind of always like the classic German kit that we think of.
Yeah.
And just kind of like the simple white and black always kind of makes it look like a certain period of German history.
A certain period of German history. That's the way we're going to do that.
where the final might be played in a building that was built around that same certain period. You know?
Yes, there may be like some famous video of certain people.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if by German laws we're allowed to mention that.
No. By German laws, you're actually required to mention it, and you're required to mention that, like, this is why there's not very much flag waving as well.
Yeah.
German nationalism is a really odd phenomenon, and it is just there's no other culture. Maybe the Japanese might be a little similar, where there's just like so much recognition of guilt among the general population.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Also, if you haven't watched the movie Victory, starring Sylvester Stallone and Pele and Michael Caine, you should go watch that this afternoon, whenever you're watching it.
Wait, say that cast again?
Yeah, no. Sorry, Brad. We're gonna do this to you the entire time, but
it has Sylvester Stallone, Pele, and Michael Caine. It also features Bobby Charlton, if I remember correctly, or no, Bobby Moore.
I think so, yeah.
A lot of other guys who are kind of like famous soccer players of the time.
So Stallone ended World War II and the Cold War?
Okay, so the plot of Victory is that Sylvester Stallone is a commando who sets up a soccer match between the players of the POW camp against a German national team that is played in France, I believe, as a way of like showing like German dominance. Pele obviously is one of the players on the team, and Michael Caine is like the player coach. And then it originally was called Escape to Victory because the plan at halftime is that they were going to escape through like the sewers of the stadium or something, and instead they play the game all the way through. Sylvester Stallone plays keeper during the game, mind you. And eventually they get partnered up with the French Resistance and escape the stadium. Spoiler for a 50-year-old movie.
I have to watch this.
You have to watch it if you've not watched it. It's amazing.
I've never seen it. That's amazing.
Okay, good. That's the kind of reactions we're going for this whole show. I have one more kit we need to talk about. Spain's home is sort of like, it's Spain. They have the stupid little wings or vents or whatever we call them. I've looked at the Spain yellow and blue away shirt about 20 times, and I've gone from that's pretty nice to I absolutely fucking hate this. So what do I actually think? Or what do you all think?
I wish the yellow
pastel.
was. Yeah, I wish the yellow was brighter, more of like an inverse color of their home kit than like it looks like you washed a white kit with a bright yellow shirt on accident.
Okay, yeah. All right. I don't know. What else do we want to do here? All right. I guess, Seth, you want to explain the format of the tournament to us?
Yeah, so the format is the same format they've used the last couple Euros. I believe it's the third Euros where they've used this since they expanded from 16 to 24 teams. You have 6 groups of 4 teams, so you have nearly half of the members in UEFA make the tournament, and that you have 16 of them that will advance. So you'll have the first 2 teams that will advance in each group, and then the 4 best third-place finishers will advance as well. And then you go to a 16-team knockout tournament from there. So that is it's an interesting format, but it provides for some grace because as we look at some of these groups, like Group B, for example, that it is a own world where it's like, okay, like Spain, Italy, and Croatia should ideally all make it through that group. So some of these groups in this tournament, you don't have in the 16-team Euros, you would have some true groups of death. You don't really have that in this tournament, but you still have some very challenging groups for teams to get through.
Yeah, and the problem you run into a lot of the time, too, is you look at some of these groups that have, like, 3 big teams and kind of, maybe not like an also-ran, but somebody you don't expect to go through, like, so they kind of, like, pick each other off and get draws instead of wins, and you might end up with a bigger team that finishes third, and you would think, oh, well, they're definitely one of the 4 best teams, but because of the lower points total, they're maybe not going to quite make it as far.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's definitely it can be challenging to figure out like, you will have teams that probably move through with 3 points. If you get a win and a draw in your group, you're through. One thing that is a little different about this Euros is that they started a system now where some of the lower teams in Nations League can qualify. So that's how Georgia made it. And I mean, Georgia has a good team, but probably not one of the 24 best teams in Europe, but they had a slightly easier qualifying path through Nations League C and beat Greece in a final match in front of 50,000 fans in Tbilisi to make it through to the Euros for the first time ever.
Okay, I have a slight problem with this, not necessarily the Nations League thing, because I get they're trying to make what are essentially friendlies a little more interesting. Georgia is not in Europe. So why is Georgia in UEFA?
So why is Georgia in UEFA? That's a good question there. So Georgia is in UEFA because Georgia was part of the former Soviet Union. And all of the countries except for the lower stands, when they decided to join, were more culturally accepted in UEFA than they were in Asia. So you have a number of members. I mean, you have Israel that is a member of UEFA because, well, majority of the countries in the Asian Confederation don't accept it as a country yet. And then in the stands and everything else, like as someone who's been to Georgia, has applied for EU candidacy. Georgia feels like a culturally European country. I believe the only person here who's been to Georgia. Highly recommend it. Wonderful country, wonderful people. Azerbaijan is the one that gets a little interesting to me because, Armenia and Georgia have European cultural ties. Azerbaijan a little bit less so, but they are in the same Soviet status and have continued playing in UEFA. And there's been Super Cups in Baku and Kazakhstan. I haven't been to Kazakhstan, so I don't know how much to say there, but that's the one that's a little more confusing to me.
Yeah, it's the greatest country in the world, though.
Yes, I mean I have seen the Kazakhstan national team play, which is that was an experience. I saw them play in Kaiserslautern, Germany, when I was studying abroad in college, and a Euro 2012 qualifier where Bastian Schweinsteiger got booed off the field for not running hard enough when they were only up 3-0.
Good. Back when Germany was Germany. All right. Well, do we want to like kind of go through group by group? And I guess we can do a little bit of an overview here. Like you mentioned, there are some lower quote unquote teams. Like you look at an Albania, you look at Georgia, obviously. There's not a ton of other really like you have no shot. Like Hungary's in a tough group, but anybody in this like lower, let's call it third of the teams that made the tournament that you think might surprise us?
So, yeah, didn't Iceland do something like that a few years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Iceland and Wales at Euro 16 both went on a big run. And
Yeah.
Northern Ireland made it out of the group stage.
So I was actually going to say Albania because they won their group in qualifying, and they won it by only scoring four, or they only gave up 4 goals in 8 matches. So they might be tougher to get a full 3 points against just because they'll be tough to break down.
Mm-hmm.
And in a format where the third place team and just like, you know, if you get a couple draws, you might make it through. Like I could easily see them making it out.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, Albania's group is a tough group. I mean, you got Spain, Croatia, and Italy in that group. But then again, it's Euro. Someone always lays an egg.
Yeah, see, I just think, not to like spoil it too much, I worry Croatia is the team that's kind of like held on to like an old core too long. And you know, you never know like what Italy's going to turn up in an international tournament, even though they've had a good Euro record.
Yeah, I think Croatia's my like everybody has high expectations, and I think they'll get out of the group like maybe in a third place, but I think they're going home earlier than a lot of people expect for a team that's performed really well over the past couple World Cups and Euros.
Yeah, I could see that happening. The team that I like that has been a little underhyped is Hungary. They have a young, dynamic core. You have a good keeper. You have a solid back line. Dominic Szoboszlai had a pretty strong season at Liverpool. My other Roland Chalai, as you guys know, I'm a big Freiburg fan, and he has been absolutely dominant when healthy this season, and he's back in form. The Hungary team in that group is not a terribly difficult group. I mean, Germany is Germany at a point, but they have struggled historically, or I should say in recent years. But when Germany has hosted tournaments, they usually rise to the occasion. And maybe Devin, your boy Kai Havertz, will continue his form from the Arsenal season. But it is Scotland is dealing with some injuries right now. Switzerland has an older core than expected. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hungary put up some strong result in Group A.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing when you get somebody like Kai and release him from the Chelsea prison system, what happens. One quick little bit before you jump in here, are there any like interesting stadiums we're playing at, Seth? Or is it sort of your normal big German stadiums?
Yeah, I mean, if you start looking at them, this is the first Euros in a while where there were no major, like there were no new stadiums built at all. There were some stadiums got renovated, like Stuttgart got a renovation there to I forget what the exact name of the stadium is now because UEFA uses the same rules as FIFA does, and you can't actually call them by their normal stadium names.
Oh, yeah.
The normal, like, Mercedes Park there. So you're hosting matches up in Hamburg at the Volksparkstadion, which is the Hamburg SV Stadium, which is, for the 5th year in a row, a second division team in Germany, which is hilarious. They're hosting matches at the Olympiastadion in Berlin, the famous 80,000-seat Olympic Stadium, where my favorite feature about that stadium is that the dressing rooms are only accessible by escalator. So they have to actually plan 3 extra. The half times there are usually 18 minutes rather than 15 minutes because it takes so long to get from the field to the locker rooms. Yeah, so like there's just very funny shots it's not Hertha Berlin is also in the second division of the Bundesliga right now, but you'll watch matches there, you're just like, it takes a really long time for half times to end at that stadium. Continuing on, going down, the only stadium that's hosting in the former East Germany is Red Bull Arena in Leipzig, 50,000-seat modern venue. Going down south, you're hosting at the Allianz Arena in Munich. You guys have all seen matches there from Bayern Munich. Stuttgart is hosting at their stadium, which is, I think, renovated back up to 65K. Eintracht Frankfurt's hosting at the Waldstadion. Classic German venue. NFL's actually played some games there pretty recently. Then you have 4 stadiums that are all in the heart of the Rhineland. Cologne is hosting at the Rhein Energy Stadion. 4-sided, beautiful stadium. Dusseldorf is hosting at Fortuna Park, another 50,000-seat solid stadium. Borussia Dortmund is hosting at the Westfalenstadion, which I believe is known for this tournament. You can't have the full yellow wall capacity for Euros, but I still think they'll have over 70K there. And then Schalke is hosting at the I guess the Arena of Schalke is, I think, what they call it for UEFA's, or the Veltins Arena, or whatever else it is, but 60,000-seat retractable roof stadium. I mean, it is interesting of the venues that 4 of them are second Bundesliga teams that are hosting, and they're all 50,000-plus stadiums, but that is the weird world of Germany right now.
Yeah, so in the Dortmund stadium, they have to have the like safe seater things like we have at Q2 where they can lock into place or whatever.
Correct. And that, like, at Dortmund matches, they just believe in a little less arm room and things like that than they are allowed under UEFA and FIFA rules. I mean, Dortmund deals with this for Champions League every year anyways.
I guess Bundesliga is a famously fan-friendly league. Are we looking at, for the participants, UEFA, like, concession and game ticket pricing, or, like, German pricing?
So UEFA is actually, compared to, I mean, just European sports in general are not terribly expensive. Tickets I saw for these tournaments were ranging from like 50 to 300, 400 euros. Yeah, if you want to get the premium hospitality packages, you could spend a shit ton of money. But the prices are not unreasonable. We have some friends who are going. I mean, maybe we'll get our friend Alistair McAllister, who is heading over to see the Scotland matches on the pod at some point. But yeah, like, the tickets are, compared to what, if this tournament were in the U.S., the ticket prices would be 4 to 5 times as high as they are in Europe.
Okay, good.
Copa America.
Yeah, we'll get into Copa America. I think we're going to do that one later this week. But so we'll go ahead and go through these. Tournament kicks off on Friday. First match, Scotland, Germany. Scotland actually like qualified pretty easily. They've been, prior to this, kind of like a barely get in type of team if they get in at all. So the group is Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland, who we haven't really talked a little bit about, but seems to always kind of like poke their head up and make it out of the group at least. So, Charles, any kind of initial thoughts here? Actually, let's do it this way. Brad, without knowing anything really about these teams other than the knowledge in your own brain, who's ranked them 1 through 4? Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland.
Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. I'm going to say Germany's number 1. I think the Scots have been playing better the last little bit. Switzerland and then Hungary.
Okay, so Brad has SpongeBob down in 4th. Charles, how do you see this one shaking out?
I mean, I agree with Brad about Germany. I think Switzerland, just because of usually like their talent and usually just having a bunch of guys who are in top 5 leagues and top teams usually, and they just usually always kind of get through the group. Like they're just kind of like, they're a competent team that is never going to win it, but they're always going to make it to like the quarterfinals. And then Scotland and Hungary, I think it could be either of them could finish 3rd, just kind of depending on how like the match between the two of them goes, and even like a couple injuries.
Yeah, big note here too is that Scotland's forward line is a bit injured, and they historically have trouble scoring goals at tournaments.
Yeah, like that's kind of like without knowing like full injuries for next week, I think Scotland's like the team that seems to be most affected by it.
Yeah, so they probably need to beat Hungary and hope to get out in 3rd. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to go Germany, Switzerland, Scotland, Hungary. Seth, how about you?
I'm going to go Germany, Hungary, Switzerland, Scotland.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, like we're probably going to change these a bunch because I'm going to put together a Euro pool and send it out to everyone. So if you're listening, look out for that. We'll do prizes on some level. It'll be free to enter. It'll be kind of like the Predictatron thing we did last year. But I'll set it up and make sure everybody sees it. And hopefully you guys don't just steal all of our answers, or do, because I'm going to change mine. But all right, Brad, you ready to do Group B?
Let's go.
All right. Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania.
Ooh, so Albania is dead last immediately.
Okay.
Spain, Italy, Croatia. Croatia always shows up in these big tournaments. I'm going to put them 1. Probably shouldn't. over Spain, but I think Spain's getting back on their shit where they had that lull after winning a couple of World Cups. But I'm gonna go Croatia 1, Spain 2, Italy 3.
Okay. Seth, how about you?
I'm gonna go Spain 1. They seem like they're rounding into good form right now. Italy's usually better in Euros than they are at the World Cup. Oh, wait, because they haven't made the last 2 World Cups. But I will go Italy second, Croatia third, Albania fourth.
Yeah, I think that sounds right to me. Croatia usually isn't tearing down the group stage when they do well. It's because they win knockout games, especially in extra time and penalties. Spain might do their classic 9 points in the group stage and then go home in the first knockout game. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick Spain, Italy, Croatia, Albania. Charles?
I was actually going to go Italy first, and then Spain, Croatia, Albania. I'm a little worried about Spain's defense in the tournament, which is kind of like a refrain for a lot of the better teams. And at the same time, I just think that Croatia just is going to be able to eke by to finish third.
Okay, yeah. Brad, you ready for C?
Okay.
All right, Slovenia, as in Zan Kalminic,
Mm-hmm.
Denmark, Serbia, England.
All right. So England's going to do their thing where they go really deep and then they get all their fans excited and then lose, as always. So that's hilarious, and I'm going to put them at top. Who are my other choices?
Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia.
Okay, Denmark is going to be second. They're always really good. I feel like Serbia is probably third and Slovenia is fourth. Sorry, Jean.
Yeah. Slovenia also has a guy who's a hot transfer property right now named Benjamin Šeško. And the only way anybody can say his name is by pretending to do a Sean Connery impression. So I've been gradually teaching everybody how to pronounce things in various Eastern and Balkan languages.
Didn't the English just lose a game this week, though?
Yeah, so this is what happened and why I'm not super high on them, because they're already in mid-tournament form because they lost to Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland.
Yeah, who didn't even qualify, and it was supposed to be like a tune-up game, and they had Phil Foden missing sitters, they had Cole Palmer missing sitters, they had Harry Kane missing sitters, so naturally, when they lost the game, they did what they always do, and they blamed all the black players.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So England's already kind of in England form. I guess I'll go next since I'm already talking. I'm going to go Denmark 1, England 2, Slovenia 3, Serbia 4 here. Although Serbia does have some huge firepower and some big motherfuckers to play D here. So I could see Serbia. I could see literally anywhere in here.
I'm just giving
Serbia how much they show up.
I gave Serbia a little extra push considering we just got Usman Bukhari from their league. So,
okay, yeah, that's fair.
It can't be that bad.
Yeah, there you go. I guess, Seth, you want to go next?
Sure. I feel like England will do enough. I could see England getting 5 points and still winning the group, because that feels like a very English thing to do in a tournament.
Yeah.
Probably Denmark in second. Slovenia, a good goalie in Euros matters a lot. And Jan Oblak in Slovenia is an outstanding keeper there. And I think he'll definitely be able to keep them in some matches. So I think Šeško will also make a big difference there. So I'll say them third and Serbia being in fourth.
Okay, yeah. I think my big hope for this group is that we get some TV clips of Nicholas Bentner's mullet and him actually commenting on games. And I will try to drop this in the show notes, but Brad, this is the dude that I sent you that looks exactly like Joe Dirt.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. So he's retired, but yeah. I'm hoping we see some of him.
Yeah. And I will also note Denmark, Dessler was in the provisional player pool of 50-something for the Euros, but did not make the squad, and he is on his honeymoon in Santorini right now, and that seems like a perfect place to be a month before joining Austin FC.
Yeah, good for him. Charles, how about you?
I think this group might be, I wouldn't call it a group of death, because I'm not sure we really have one of those, but I think this is the one where everybody's going to get points off of each other. Yeah. I still think England's going to win just based on talent. even though I think that they're not as good as they've been in past iterations. So I was going to go England, Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia,
Okay.
because I think Slovenia just in a shorter tournament or in just in a couple of games, I think they have a better chance than some of the other teams who I just kind of don't believe in right now.
So you have Denmark, who is kind of a big popular dark horse pick for a lot of people to win the whole thing in third. Are they getting out of the group, or are they getting out and making it to the knockouts, or are they going to be one of the two that falls out?
Oh, I think they make it to the knockouts, but I think it's also like important to remember that in this format, like finishing third in your group isn't a death sentence because you do get into the knockouts. And I mean, I think Portugal in 2016 won finishing third in their group, and they ended up winning the whole thing.
I think that's right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if if a team finishes third and ends up going to the final or further or winning it.
Okay. I guess let's move on to Group D here, which is one of, if not the most interesting ones for me. I think it's probably the most interesting. So our teams here, Brad, are Poland, Holland, Austria, France.
Oh, that's a good group.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Poland, Holland, Austria, and France.
Oh, we're going to get like a Holland-Austria kit matchup and Holland-France kit matchup. This is a good group for kits.
Okay, so the French are the defending World Cup champs, so I've got to put them one.
Argentina are the defending World Cup champs, but France.
Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find their way around the Maginot Line to get to Germany, but if they do, they're probably pretty dangerous.
Okay.
All right. So my other ones are Poland, Holland, and who was the third
Austria.
one? Austria. Gosh, I'm gonna go Holland 2, Austria 3, and Poland 4. But man, that's tough. I think any of the back three can be in any order.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic. Like, is Robert Lewandowski scoring a million goals, or is he just going to sort of be there? Because World Cup, he was just sort of there, and they didn't do well. But I mean, all these are solid teams, so yeah, it's going to be tough. Charles, Poland, Holland, Austria, France. Where are we going?
Okay, so before my pick, I want to mention that the Netherlands and France were also in the same qualifying group, and the Euros really need to change the rules to where that can't happen. Also, be in the group stage of the tournament, because that just you want to see teams play different teams all the time. I have France winning, the Netherlands, Austria, and I think Poland ends up finishing fourth. I just kind of don't believe in Lewandowski still like being able to score goals at this point at the Euros, and I don't see them generating more offense.
No, I mean, they have some other players, but, he's kind of your classic talisman player here. Seth, you want to go next?
Yeah, as we go through it, I mean, Poland's defense is I got to see a little bit of the Poland-Ukraine game, and Poland, I was expecting Ukraine to win that, and we'll get to Ukraine in the next group, but Poland beat them pretty handily. It was in Warsaw, and they had a home crowd, but, I mean, Poland could surprise at this. That being said, they are hard to depend on. I mean, I do think France is the class of this group. The Dutch are one of those teams that should always be better than they are, and I can't figure out why they can't get it together. But that's what makes international football fun at a point. I'm going to go crazy. Say France 1, Poland 2, Netherlands 3, Austria 4.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I had an interesting one for this too, but that would be Lewandowski's got to have like 5 goals for that to happen, right?
or that their back line is just really solid and they get out some draws and they find some other goal scorers as well.
Yeah. I have my man Kivior starting. So
I was going to say a lot of MLS representation on that Poland team.
Yeah, and I believe they've Karol Swiderski, right?
He's back in Italy right now, but they have the midfielder from Atlanta who I'm going to mispronounce his name, so I'm not even going to bother doing it.
Look, even I'm not trying on Poland, dude. I can do most of these. That one, no way. At one point in my life, I could spell Wojciech Szczesny, but that was a long time ago.
Yes.
I'm going to go France, Austria, Netherlands, Poland. And I'm with you. Like, it won't shock me if Holland just totally flames out of this. They don't feel like they've had it a ton lately, and I know they've lit up the U.S. at the World Cup, but.
Well, you got to think Austria is going to have a little bit of a home field advantage too, right? Just because the neutrals in Germany are probably going to root for Austria, you would think, right?
Well, let's look at where these matches are taking place. So Austria opens with France, and that is going to be at the what you call it in Dusseldorf. So that's pretty far from Austria. Like it'd be like one thing if you're playing in Munich or something, but that is not where those like it's up in the Rhineland. Give me 1 second. I am pulling up where the rest of the matches are. Sorry, I should have had this ready to go, but we never know exactly what we're going to be talking about on here. They play Poland in Berlin, which is really a pro-Poland crowd, if anything, because Berlin is closer to there. And they play the Dutch in Berlin as well. But like the nice thing about Euros is that it's pretty easy to move between sites there, and like Germany has a great rail system. I expect every team will have at least 10,000 of their fans at every match.
Well, that's good. Brad, you're missing out, I think. Go ahead.
Oh, and if anyone cares, the cricket they got one over in and it has started raining again. And Indians and Pakistanis are now realizing it rains in New York in June.
Boo.
So when do they pull the tarp?
Oh, the tarp has already been pulled.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I didn't realize cricket was a tarp sport.
Yeah, they put a tarp just over the wicket. So it is not, they don't cover the whole grass, but they do cover the bowling areas of the wicket.
Okay. That makes sense. Brad, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about kits, but on the Austria one, it does seem less Austrian because it doesn't have Österreich. Seth, I'm sure you can correct me on the pronunciation there. Österreich? Yes. Okay. Papered across it like the World Cup one, and it was just like, okay, I know you guys are like not trying to look like American Nazi-style villains, but like you're not helping.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me the Proud Boys adopted this as their uniform, I would buy it.
Got to get rid of their New York City FC shirts first.
Oh gosh, but yeah, no. I'm also curious as how Ralph Rangnick is going to do as a manager here, and I think it could either end very well or end very poorly. I don't think it ends in a mid result.
Yeah, I'm taking him to do well in the group stage, and then they're going to get smacked around by someone.
Yeah.
But I like him a lot, and it'll be interesting to see how he does. Charles may feel differently on his feelings about Ralph Rangnick, but here we are. All right, Brad, you ready for Group E?
Let's go.
All right, Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine.
Belgium 1, Ukraine 2, Slovakia 3. Who was the fourth one?
Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine.
Okay, Romania 4.
Okay. I think on paper this is probably the easiest group.
Yeah, I'd say this is a group that almost everyone expects only 2 teams would come out of.
I think Belgium and Ukraine, right? That the little bit that I know, I figured like those are probably the 2.
I mean, Ukraine, for obvious reasons, hasn't been quite as impressive as they have in the past. But yeah, I'm going to go Belgium, Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania. Charles?
I was going to go Belgium, Romania, Ukraine, Slovakia. I thought Romania, based on their qualifying, is probably going to do a little bit better than people think.
Okay.
And then I just kind of my thing about Ukraine is I think they're either going to like, it's one of those things where like with turmoil at home, like it either focuses a team or distracts them, and it seems like it's focused them, so they might perform better than people think too.
Yeah, roll of the dice on them.
I mean, and they've also had Ukraine has had some incredible individual performances this year. I mean, Artem Dovbyk from Girona just was absolutely destroyed La Liga, was the leading goal scorer in La Liga this season. And Andre Lunin did a great job in the matches he had at Real Madrid this year. So, and Mudryk is, in prison, but he's still Mudryk, and hopefully the rest of his team can unlock him.
Yeah, I mean, guy run very fast is valuable sometimes in these games, so... maybe he'll get lucky and like spoof a cross in again or something.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at this lineup, they are one of the 10 most talented player pools in this. It's just a question of do they coalesce as a team?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Seth, did you give us yours?
I did not give you mine. I'm going to go Belgium, Ukraine, Romania, Slovakia.
Okay. Nobody has any faith in the Slovaks besides me. All right.
Yeah.
No, but one thing about Slovenia and their kits, by the way, because I'm looking at them right now, that center crest that they have, I think is their actual crest or logo? It looks a lot like the old Colorado Rockies crest from the hockey team in the 70s.
I'd have to look that up. You got me on that.
I'm sorry, did you say Slovakia or Slovenia?
Slovenia.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I heard Slovenia.
No, it's Slovakia.
No, but I do agree. It does have that look to it, and as I mentioned before, like I kind of like the center design on a lot of the kits that are in the tournament this year.
Well, I just did the Slack bot of, did you mean Slovakia? Did you mean Slovenia?
Yeah, there you go. There used to be a website. I haven't been able to find it, but it's Slovenia is not Slovakia.com. And it was just like a comparison of the two countries. But I think that's been gone for a while.
Charles, as our resident North Texas expat and Mavs fan, does Luka Doncic lead to more confusion or less confusion in this Slovakia-Slovenia debate?
I think he's led to less confusion because there just isn't another famous athlete on his level from Slovakia. But I think it's one of those things that, like, unless you're following basketball, like, or Austin FC because of Zahn, like, it's easy to confuse all the countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, like, Slovakia is kind of a little more mountainous, colder country in Central Europe, which is why you have a bunch of hockey players from there. And Slovenia is basically an extension of the Italian coast down under the Balkan Peninsula, and is a huge resort industry, actually.
But then Slovenia has the mountain on their kit, and so that just confuses everybody intentionally.
Yeah, well, fuck you guys. That's why, okay? All right. Last one, Group F. You ready, Brad?
Let's go.
All right. Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, Czechia, Czech Republic.
Yeah. Turkey, Georgia, Portugal. Okay, question. Is Ronaldo still playing for Portugal?
He is on the roster, but nobody knows how much he's actually going to play.
Like we assume we're not, like, the assumption is that he will be used as a Giassi Zardes like sub.
Yep.
Oh god, so they're screwed. Okay. I'm gonna say Turkey 1 because I think they're always pretty good. Czech Republic 2, Portugal 3, Georgia 4.
Okay, I would be ecstatic if this group shakes out that way. We do also have the two teams who recently changed the spelling or wording of their international name in Turkey and Czechia. So we'll have a fun one there. Seth, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, this Portugal team is way too talented. Like, Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, you are behind João Felix, Rafael Leao, who had an amazing season at AC Milan, and my boy Diego Jota. And their back line is outstanding. This Portuguese team is one of the four most talented teams in this tournament. They should be the top of this group. Turkey has a bunch of young guys. They should be pretty fun. They can finish in second. Patrick Schick is hurt right now for Czechia, and Czechia is just not as deep as they used to be, but I still think that's enough to get them to finish third in the group ahead of Georgia, who's Kvaratskhelia and not too much else after him, but you never know. First time in the tournament, they could surprise, and this is not the hardest group there.
No, I'm with you. Like, Portugal's absolutely stacked. They've just been churning out good players in the past 5 or 10 years. We talk a fair amount about how underrated the Portuguese league is, at least as far as player development. But I guess, Charles, you want to go first, and then I'll pop mine to end here?
No, I agree with Seth, except we're not talking about Bruno enough. He's really the person who...
And Brad watched Ratatouille last night.
I know, exactly. No, like, I think he's really... just because of, like, coming off the season he had, like, I know that, like, the focus is always on Ronaldo with Portugal, but I think they're going to go as far as Bruno's able to kind of pull the strings for them. But I agree with Seth's order. I think it's Portugal, and then Georgia's going to finish last, and then the match between Turkey and Czechia is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. I got burned. I took Turkey as like a pretty big dark horse last Euros. So I'm going to learn that lesson in the same way that I haven't picked Iowa State to win a first-round NCAA tournament game in like 25 years. So I'm going to go Portugal, Czechia, Turkey, Georgia.
What did Fred Hoiberg do to you?
Yeah, no shit. I was so sure. Fucking Hampton. That was when I was actually good at brackets too.
Yeah.
All right, so we got kind of our group set out. I don't know if we want to go like design out a full bracket or anything, but like, let's go ahead and say, Brad, you can go first. Who's going to be in your final 4 teams?
Without understanding what the brackets look like.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm going to go the French, and they're probably going to win the whole damn thing. I think I'll give Germany a little run, even though I know they may not be as good as they have been. Just I think being at home, they're probably going to play more inspired. I know I just shat on Portugal, so I can't put them in there, even though what Seth just said scares me.
You're allowed to change your mind.
No. Let's go with the Spanish at 3 and our third team. And then for whatever reason, I always feel like Euros has one random ass team make a long run out of freaking nowhere. And I'm going to say it's Turkey this year.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think you're right. They usually have some like fun team at least make it into the, if not the semis, the quarters, and put up a good showing. So you got France to win?
Yes.
All right.
They're the best team on the planet as far as national teams go. Until they're beaten, I'm not picking against them.
Okay. Well, I mean,
plus, they have
Argentina.
a very scary chicken.
They do.
Charles, what do the false 9 chickens think of the French chicken?
So the French chicken is actually an ancestor. That's something that like we like try not to publicize too much. So they're very fond of it, obviously. But at the same time, like they are also the ancestors also the Tottenham chicken, which they don't talk about at all.
No. Look, we all have family members we're not, super proud of. All right. Brad, you want to take a whack at top scorer?
I couldn't even name 3 players in this tournament.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure you could.
Brad, you absolutely can.
You absolutely can. You don't have to.
Yeah,
but you can.
I guess it's probably going to be Mbappe then if I like France to win. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to go for new LAFC recruit Olivier Giroud?
I mean, he's too pretty for this tournament anymore. He's probably already in LA.
Yeah, true. All right, Seth, you want to give me your top 4 and top scorer?
Okay, my top 4, I do have to agree. I think the French will make it to there. Germany's usually good for a run in Germany. France, Germany, Portugal. I mean, I actually think the Portuguese should win this tournament if they get their act together. And then I will put Ukraine as my surprise semifinal team.
Okay, and you said you have France winning?
And I say Portugal will pull it out. Portugal beats France in the final in a repeat of the 2016.
Okay.
I actually have to look at the bracket to make sure if that's actually possible because I did not fully bracket out everything. So I reserve my right to change my mind when I do that.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the third places shake out, I think you can sort of almost end up with pretty much anything. So I didn't want to go too deep in anything there.
Yes, no, it can get. There's lots of permutations in this tournament.
I love that England made the finals 3 years ago, and we're all like, yeah.
But it's England, and again, if we look at pure talent, they may have the most talented roster, but Gareth Southgate is the GGG of Europe.
Also, Harry Kane is cursed.
And he's playing in his he went a year early to curse England and Germany, and this team seems bound to lose on PKs on the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Bayern Munich just won 12 leagues in a row. They didn't even finish in the top 2 this year and didn't win a trophy for the first time since a certain period in German history.
Yeah, they didn't even qualify for the German Super Cup next year. They didn't even qualify for the most meaningless and easy to win tournament for Harry Kane.
Although shockingly, Harry Kane is the betting favorite to win Golden Boot right now,
which just means that too many Brits bet.
I was going to say that's a reflection of the betting market, not actually what's going to happen. But Seth, did you give us a top scorer?
Oh, top scorer in this. I am going to, if I'm saying Portugal's going to do it, I'm going to say that my boy Diego Jota stays healthy and has the tournament of his life.
Okay, I
And then
figured you
that
were
means
going
he
either
probably gets
Jota or
sold to Man
Liao.
City for like 150 million pounds or something.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Let's hope that doesn't happen because they don't need another striker. But it's global football and stupid shit happens all the time.
Yeah. All right, Charles, you want to go?
Yeah, so I think the four best teams are France, England, Portugal, and Germany, which would be a very boring bracket because that's very chalk. But I also think those are the four best teams playing. For Golden Boot, I kind of want to. I mean, I think the obvious choice is Mbappe, but I think that the dark horse one would be Alvaro Morata from Spain.
Yeah.
Just because if Spain's cooking, just whoever is up top is just going to bang in goals.
Yeah. Wait, I thought they cut Barada
No.
for this game.
No.
Okay.
No, Morata's going to be their top goals. Yeah. Or should be, I should say.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I think he's kind of like because I'm looking at like the betting odds just to like get names, and like he's the only like person who I actually think could really do it
Okay.
outside of like the obvious ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna go top four. I'm gonna take France. I'm gonna take Germany. I'm gonna take. I'm really having trouble with this one because my dark horse is gonna be Scotland, in case they get their shit together. Because I'm gonna do a little bit of a homer pick there. Yeah, I'm gonna take Portugal. And let's see. I'm gonna have Germany win. And yeah, I'm going to take the easy one and take Mbappe as top scorer because I think there are a couple of games in this group where against Austria or Holland, he could either easily like get 2 or 3 goals in one of those games. So, all right. Yeah. Are we expecting anything fun or anything else you guys want to cover on Euros? Did we talk about?
The thing is, I'm kind of hoping that it ends up being a more attacking tournament than we've kind of seen. I'm kind of worried that more teams are kind of going to go the Southgate style of like we have 4 at the back, we have 2 holding mids, and nobody ventures forward. So I'm kind of hoping that like we see a little more offense than we normally do.
Yeah, and I mean this is what Switzerland does really well, but it's fucking annoying as you win like games 1-0 or 0-0, and it's just very defensively solid. Move the ball, you give up 2 chances a game, but you get 3 or 4, and it's just not fun to watch.
Yeah, very Berhalter ball.
Yeah, so I mean I'm hoping we get some attacking verve, but we'll see. I mean there's some potential games. I guess out of the group stage, let's do this too before we sign off. Which game are you most looking forward to, Seth?
I am. Give me 1 second. I just have to pull back. I had the match fixture list right up there. Obviously, you're always looking forward to the opening match because it's an opening match of a tournament. In the first wave of matches, I want to see the Austria-France match, which will be Monday, June 17th at 2 p.m., just to see like how is France coming together. The Austria team seems to be like one of the ones that is a little more mysterious in how they're going to set up, which is going to be fun to see. Second match day, Denmark England should be a fun one. We have Denmark, England, and Spain, Italy as a double header on Thursday, June 20th. So that is going to be a day of thriving productivity across much of this country. And then the day afterwards, we have Netherlands, France, which should also be a great match. Then in the final group stage day, Croatia, Italy should be fun. And yeah, and then you never know who's going to need to get through in that side. We have what you call it, and then the way this tournament works is that the round of 16 is going to be set up double headers at 11 and 2 Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of June 29th, June 30th, July 1st, July 2nd. Quarterfinals are going to be July 5th and 6th, which is a Friday, Saturday. And then those are both 11 and 2s. Semifinals the Tuesday and Wednesday, July 9th and 10th, and the final 2 p.m. on Sunday, July 14th.
Nice. Brad, any group games you're looking forward to?
Whichever ones are the most entertaining while distracting you from doing work.
Yep.
And the beauty of this tournament is that, especially in the first 2 match days, we have matches starting as early as 8 a.m.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, and especially once, I guess, Copa America will kick off. And do we have overlap of the 8 a.m.s with Copa America days?
We do for like 1 or 2 days.
Okay, yeah.
The only problem is this is the summer of football on Fox. That Fox and FS1 have the rights to most of this. So, amigos, es necesario para aprender español, because our friends at Univision have the rights to both of these tournaments, and it's OTA in many cases, and Tudane is your friend, and it is. There are some good announcers, like Derek Ray has been brought back by Fox. There are some good English language announcers that are on it, but occasionally that means a second halftime hit switch away because we might have to hear bigot Alexi Lawless, who is doesn't know anything about women's basketball, talk about what he doesn't know about European soccer or American soccer.
Yeah. So, if you don't want to learn Spanish, get comfy with your mute button, something like that. Put on some easy listening music while you're watching the Euros, something. Yeah, I don't know. Charles, do you have any big ones you're kind of looking forward to?
Yeah, I think the obvious ones, Spain, Italy will be a lot of fun. I think Germany and Switzerland will probably be an interesting match to watch. And then, France, Netherlands. I think there really just are like a couple of just like premier matchups in the first round.
Yeah, I think my big one is Croatia, Italy, because we talked a little bit about Italy being a little erratic in World Cups, but good in Euros, and I wonder if that's going to carry forward. And Croatia, how much they have left in their legs, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like, let's have a good attacking tournament. And for those of you who don't have long memories, that's a big part of what the 06 World Cup in Germany was remembered for, was like kind of a little more free-flowing, fun unification of Germany tournament. So I'm hoping we get those sort of vibes.
Yeah.
Don't we expect that more from Copa America, though?
I don't know.
At least I do.
I don't know.
I think Copa America is going to have a little more attacking verve just from the nature of like styles of play. But going back to what was said about the 06 World Cup, like a lot of that was because Germany also that kind of rushed in their like free flowing attacking era. And I think that's how we kind of like remember that tournament more fondly, was because of how much fun that Germany team was and how great it was to have like that home crowd rooting for them. And I'm just not sure Germany's going to do that this year.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll cover Copa America a little more in depth. Like I said, we're going to do a separate episode on that, and then we'll probably do some coverage throughout the weeks and cover some games. We're going to combo like a Copa America and a U.S. episode, but like it's going to be mostly Copa America because I'm rapidly not giving a shit about the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S. just got a gift of a group, but even the U.S. in a gift of a group could lose to Panama, and it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. But we'll come back to it. Like I said, if you want to follow us on socials at Suffering Pod, it'll be on Twitter and Instagram. We're a little more active on, I guess you're supposed to call it X now, but I don't really care. We'll get that pool out if anybody wants to join. We'll see how many people join. We'll kind of figure out some prizes for that later, but it's just a for fun thing. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to do before we sign off here? No? All right.
Yes, actually, if you've not done it today, go vote for Brad Stuver for All-Star Keeper. We are failing as a fan base. He's not even in the top 5. The club has at least been doing some efforts to try to promote him, to try to get like the stats out there, which is good. But ultimately, like, he's only going to get chosen if the fans do it, and we need to do that.
Yeah, and MLS already has your email address, so don't worry about them adding you to another list.
Also, like, you can just unsubscribe or like block it. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to do the most important question here. Brad, who do you want to win?
Ooh. Well, clearly not Georgia as an Auburn grad.
Yes. The Deep Caucasus' oldest rivalry.
Yeah, not England, because I think it's funny every time they lose.
Objectively true, though.
Yes, objectively true.
Not France, because I feel like they win too much, even though I love the chicken. And I would, in a very things that happened 80 years ago way, find it really funny with France winning on German soil.
But we have to go to the fucking Hall of Mirrors again and do all this shit. Like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. I think I either want. I think I kind of want, because I'm married into the family. I'm going to root for the Italians, because I don't think it's going to happen.
Is it weird that I could tell you were going to say that from the way you said family?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm married into the familia where you don't really ask a whole lot of questions sometimes, man. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Alrighty. Seth, how about you?
At this point, it would be, especially after the German team has struggled, and as the resident German here, it would be fun to see the German team actually win at home and prove that Julian Nagelsmann can actually manage this team, which would be, we'll see how that goes. But the other fun option would be to see, like, if Ukraine somehow pulled off a fully miraculous run, would capture the hearts of the world and might actually have way more global implications than just what's happening on the field. But you never know how this stuff comes together.
Okay, so this is a dumb question for me. Was Russia not allowed to play?
So Russia has been kicked out of – Russia and Belarus have both been kicked out of UEFA for the time being.
Okay.
And Russia and Belarus have not affiliated with Asia yet and are currently ineligible for the 2026 World Cup.
Okay. Because it felt weird that they weren't in the bracket. So
yes. And there was all sorts of other things, like Israel made the final round of qualifiers but lost to Iceland before they lost to Ukraine. And there's also a petition to kick Israel out of UEFA and FIFA as well, which doesn't matter for this and doesn't matter for the Olympics, but may matter for the 26th World Cup.
Yeah, it's getting bureaucratic and spicy out there.
It is. There are lots of lawyers making lots of money.
I'm not one of them.
Case.
Yeah, I'm doing the wrong thing. Charles, who do you want to win?
I mean, I agree with Seth. Like, watching the home country win is always fun. But besides that, like, it'd be fun to just see, like, a real dark horse win. Like, I was thinking, like, the Dutch or I'm looking at who could possibly do it. Maybe even like Belgium, like just kind of like a team that like you don't see win often, just kind of go on a run would be really interesting. I just kind of think we're going to see one of the usual suspects.
Yeah, I would be shocked,
but not
Kevin
Spacey, obviously.
No, you're going to Kaiser Soze our way through this, but yeah, I would be shocked if we don't have like a big team win it. But I would like Scotland to win. I will be happy if Holland wins. Other than that, good tournament and a dark horse going deep. So we have some, somebody to root for kind of in the later stages to start smacking around France and Germany and whoever.
I should have caveated. Scotland winning would be my number one, probably.
Yeah.
Like, if I could pick a team that I thought was like truly had a shot and wish they would win, it would be Scotland, because I even though my last name is Irish, my mom's side of the family on one half is Scottish, so like Scotch-Irish. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Go Scotland. Plus, all the Alistair McAllister highlights would be freaking hilarious.
I was going to say, if for no other reason than we get extended Alistair McAllister, people should be rooting for Scotland.
Yeah.
Always root for the content.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Scotland winning a giant tournament before England would be the funniest shit on earth.
Yeah. And we usually have if not a hard and fast rule, a guideline that the funniest answer is usually correct here.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that did bring me up. I forgot to mention very at the beginning of this podcast that when I saw the Irish cricket team play on Friday, that was an all-Ireland team. So there was a guy from Northern Ireland, and they had to use a different flag, which is, I feel like, relevant to our Scotland-England conversation.
Yeah. Well, they figured it out. I mean, if they got Team GB for the Olympics, they got it figured out.
And you know what? Team GB did not make the Olympics in, I believe, men's or women's football.
No. But, I mean, we'll be back with more, I guess we're going to do some Olympic content too. And some Copa America content. Like, we'll still talk about Austin FC, but there's other stuff going on that's much less stressful to watch. So on behalf of Brad and Charles and Seth here, thanks for suffering with us, and go Scotland. Bye.
Yeah.
Thomas here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego for goodness!
He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.